Hello and welcome everyone back to another Calvin Crypto video. I hope you guys are doing well, and today we are back with another banger PulseChain video, giving you guys the latest and greatest of crypto news. And oh boy, we have such a bullish video because I'm so excited for the future, guys. I've always been, literally since day one of PulseChain, I've never doubted this chain for being the best leverage in this altcoin season, in this altcoin year, which happens post Bitcoin halving. Guys, I'm so excited to watch the whole video through. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is what you subscribe here for. At the end of the day, what do you know that the other 99% of crypto traders do not know? The key information asymmetry. Welcome to PulseChain. We love you. So without further ado, let's kind of take a step back before we talk about PulseChain specific things. Let's look at where is crypto on the macro level. Bitcoin right now is at 93. It did hit 94, maybe even 95K. Ethereum is, it did reach 1.8 and hopefully upwards and onwards. We're going to check the ETHBTC ratio in a second. Right now, the fear and greed index has gone up a little bit too rapidly, I think, which you know, keep that in mind that we can expect Ethereum to be at the 3,000 level too soon at the end of the day. So I would definitely keep that in mind. But either way, we're not really short-term price oriented. We're not traders here. We believe in that altcoin season, which we haven't even hit yet. As I've already mentioned in the previous video, guys, look at this. This is the Bitcoin dominance, right? Usually, and this is why I tell you, just from this chart, I can deduct that we've actually been in the longest bear market to date. Okay, so looking back to Bitcoin happenings, usually the altcoin season, now this is part of the rule, which says the altcoin season happens post the Bitcoin halving year, because that Bitcoin halving year is Bitcoin's year, right? And you can see here the correlation, or just looking at pattern recognition, again, is this a coincidence that on that Bitcoin halving, 224 days, and then we started seeing the rapid falling knife of the Bitcoin dominance, which again, this is a clear indicator of the altcoins picking up more dominance during that time. And again, this happened in the 2020 on May, around May, the month of May, where the Bitcoin halving happened, and then around 200 something, so roughly 220 days by average, that's when the altcoin season started kicking in. So if we took that same, 220 days, we're supposed to have it in that dip that we've seen towards the end of 2024. Now, this was actually a fake out, I guess, or shakeout, whatever you call it, because we've literally retraced back to break local all-time highs with the Bitcoin dominance. Now, what I think why is the case, obviously a lot of geopolitical crypto is being affected by geopolitics more than ever, unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever you think about it. We, on the good side of things, we have Donald Trump, which was the same. He won the election, which was kind of the same case in the last super cycle that we had, which was this one, right, in 2017. So that's also kind of gets good sign. And now we have Donald Trump that's a more pro Bitcoin than ever. He signed the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, which is really, really good. We now have Bitcoin ETF, Ethereum ETF, but we're seeing, okay, why is it not attracting that much volume? But if you actually look into the data, you'll realize a lot of whales are starting to accumulate Ethereum, guys. I'm telling you, even though you look at the price chart, you're gonna say, oh, looks crap. Because guys, all of a sudden, people measure the quality of something literally just from the price chart. Show them, technology, show them utility, show them a roadmap. They don't care about stuff. They literally will just follow the green candles. And that I'm describing 95% of people in the crypto and probably possibly even the stock market. Obviously, stock market, you can do fundamental analysis. You can look at all reports, quarterly reports and stuff like that. But crypto is kind of a different story. But I'm going to make a separate video on this, talking about Ethereum's future, why obviously it's great, because technically, guys, with us, with PulseChain, we can actually put in an Ethereum improvement proposal, which effectively rolls the new changes for Ethereum to PulseChain. Guys, we're the little brother of Ethereum, which is better. We have better genetics, but again, anything the big brother can do, we can do better. So again, any attributes, any new upgrades they roll out to their nodes or validators, we can literally roll that into PulseChain. Now, it's not a simple process to do that, and it does need help from like their GitHub, put in a new PR request, etc. But it is doable. This is the beautiful thing about being a layer one solution, right? We're a leverage of Ethereum, just like how BNB is. What makes us different is that we're not just a regular layer one fork. We're founded by the best crypto founder ever. By the way, big shout out to CZ, of course. But also, I was going to say, what makes us different is the fact that we are first of its own kind, full system state copy of Ethereum. Guys, we took a snapshot of Ethereum again, and that kind of, you know, gave birth to this narrative, which is the PRC20s. I call it the gold mine. Again, it's literally on pulsechain.com. You can see it. It literally says the digital gold rush. And technically, PX is a PRC20, and it's also part of the Richard Heart core ecosystem because, of course, it's part of the blue chips, which we're gonna talk about here. The charts for it, which I'm super excited, guys. I say that it's actually not core 4; it's a core 7 for a few reasons here and there. Now, I understand a couple of them, or one of them, is very high risk right now, and that's fine. We can call it core 6. I still believe in PDAI. I've already set my portfolio. They're all properly adjusted in terms of risk to reward ratio. Guys, I can sleep like a baby at night because all I need is a couple or even one of them do 100x, and I'm literally set for, not generational wealth, but financial freedom, guys. So this is, at the end of the day, this is why we're here in crypto. It gives us that instrument where we can work smart and not hard, and it really does require mental toughness, right? And making your own independent decisions, guys. Okay, don't look at where the crowd is going. No, no, no. Be contrarian. Have conviction of what you believe in. Think long term. Don't be short term price oriented. Okay, because at the end of the day, technically, all this can be seen as noise. We're going to get to that in a second. But I believe heavily in PulseChain. Let me just double check the mic is working. That's beautiful. But before we jump into it, I'm going to also cover other things such as the Bitcoin versus M2 money supply. Now, I've been talking about this a lot in my Telegram group chat. So go check it out. I know I haven't been making as much videos, as frequent videos. So go join my Telegram. If you have any questions, I'll be there. Now, please do remember, guys, I will never DM you first. Never, ever, ever. I'll never ask you for money. I'll never ask you to click on any links on Telegram. Okay, so the only communication I do is in the public group chat, which is right here, the farmers community. Please be careful. There are imposters out there. Telegram is a dangerous place. If you want to reach out to me, my username is in the description. Do not message anyone else. Always double check the username is that. Just click the one in the link in the description. Simple as that. Or just message in the Telegram group chat. Anyways, aside from that, going back to it, this is the Bitcoin versus M2 money supply, which a lot of people say. Usually it follows the M2 money supply with a delay of 75 days. Some people say 85, 115. Now, I like to keep it on the short term because I want to catch the reversal as soon as possible, which obviously, yes, it does come with a percentage of error, plus or minus. But yeah, you guys can see this. I've been watching this for a long, long time, guys. This is when we were way back, towards the end of March, end of February, and I told people, I'm excited to see when Bitcoin reaches the point of intersection because we've been seeing the M2 money supply increasingly, rapidly increasing. And guys, looking at the roadmap now, it seems like Bitcoin has a straight path to 130, almost 140K Bitcoin in 2025. In the next couple months, we shall see. Okay, you know what I mean? Like the trend is your friend. I love it when I make charts like these. It really does make it very simple. Now, obviously, there's another thing that I also like to see, which is the 50 weekly moving average. That one is really great as an indicator that yes, we are still in the bull market, of course, because a lot of people thought that Bitcoin top was already in. So yeah, and obviously for bear market values, now if you're trying to buy Bitcoin at a very cheap price in this up next bear market after this bull one, which could be towards the end of 2026 or 2027, look at the 200 moving average. That's going to be your cheap buy-in price. Okay, so there's that. Do your own research, of course. Now moving on to the ETH/BTC ratio. Now this is unfortunately some people say it's unfortunate. For me, in my opinion, I don't think it's unfortunate. Yes, even though the price chart looks bad, have to give respect to Ethereum, guys. I believe Ethereum is going to recover. Yes, I know it looks really bad. This parabolic depreciation is scary, very scary. Like the rate of decrease is actually increasing. Like the rate is increasing. The rate of depreciation is increasing, but hopefully we're gonna see a bottoming and hopefully a reversal because we have reached these previous support levels all the way back in the bear market of 2019. Okay, and there's a lot of things coming down in the pipeline for Ethereum, but do remember as well, whales are silently accumulating. So follow the whales, swim with the whales, as they say. They're the smart money. Okay, BlackRock, they're accumulating. Liberty Finance, one of the biggest positions in crypto, is literally just Ethereum, followed by wrapped Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Like, again, think about it. What did Ethereum provide in terms of innovation to the whole crypto industry? Now we're able to have Bitcoin on Ethereum as you can wrap your Bitcoin on Ethereum. Now you're able to have one of the best utilities and DeFi innovations, which is what? A stable coin, guys. This was only possible because of Ethereum. It laid the path for us. For all the rest of the layer 1 forks, the layer 2 forks, for all, you know what I mean? Like, gotta give respect to Ethereum. It's always going to be the number 2. I don't care what people say. It's the digital gold, the digital silver, as some people say. But yeah, anyways, I do believe in Ethereum long term. In terms of the price, it is right now 1.7. I still think the first milestone of $7,000 price target, using Fibonacci extensions, nothing too special, but I like to keep my TA kind of simple because, of course, if Fibonacci levels, kind of give us that psychological resistance or support levels, most likely where it would be. And it does seem like we've been very consistent by hitting the 3.618 level. You can see that in the previous bull right here. I guess I don't. It is. This is our second. It is our third bull for Ethereum. So yeah, going with the only data that we have, we can, now let's say, okay, we would implement the diminishing return factor. So we could say, okay, 2.16 2.618 level, which is actually an 11K Ethereum, right? And then you have the even lower level, that's the 7K plus Ethereum. So there is that. Those are basically my 3 milestones, guys. 7K Ethereum, 11,000 Ethereum, or basically 10,000, and then 15,000 Ethereum. That's really aspirational, but nonetheless very doable because I think now that I think of it, due to the fact that we could be in a super cycle, a 200K plus Bitcoin is also possible. So that is very, very huge. But in terms of Richard Hart's sacrifice funds, where are they today? He is down a minus 53%. This is just a reminder that Richard Hart is also human, right? He's not a god like a lot of people say, which, I do think he's an extremely high IQ person. He has changed in his ways. Now he's, speaking through blockchain. He technically, is it even him speaking in the Twitter, because he goes, Richard only communicates in person. Is this even him writing this? We don't know. It could be an AI bot. I don't know. It could be one of his team members, whatever. I actually don't know. But, just a reminder that, he did call the top on Bitcoin in the previous bull run, but he couldn't find the best entry price for Ethereum when he rotated the sacrifice funds. But that's fine because either way, if you're thinking long term, if you never sold, you've never realized those losses. You know what I mean? Like, have that kind of mentality. But now, looking at one of the latest tweets here that I also wanted to mention before we move on into PulseChain, I wanted to note down the US dollar index. Now, this is also a very great indicator. It's inversely proportional to Bitcoin price. As the US dollar decreases in strength, usually the quantitative easing as well starts to kick in, where they reduce interest rates by buying up more bonds. They actually start printing their way out of trouble. And again, that also inadvertently, or basically indirectly and directly, increases the M2 money supply, the global liquidity index, which I've already covered on a tweet. This is why you need to follow me. Literally 2 weeks ago, it broke all-time high. Guys, global liquidity index just broke all-time high, which is a very, very great sign Okay, speaking of sign, we're having the same. Okay, people telling you, oh, is it different this time? No, it's never different. We are in 4-year cycles, guys. 4-year cycles. Look at this. I even put the 2016 having 2000. Sorry, this is 2024 having 2020, 2016, and then it is technically 2013. It was a misspelling there. And you can see every time the Dixie index falls down, Bitcoin starts riding up. Dixie index falls down, Bitcoin starts riding up. Now we're looking where we are. The Dixie index has been down. Bitcoin is loading up, guys. It's overdue. Okay, I'm telling you, or it's due. So I'm so excited for the future. And of course, guys, when I mention this is all very good news. It will trickle down all the way to PulseChain, because remember, PulseChain is a leverage of Ethereum. Ethereum is a leverage of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a leverage of like S&P 500. Is a leverage of gold, or technically, some people say usually gold has a 100-day delay with Bitcoin, or when gold rallies up, then it pauses for Bitcoin to then rally up. There's different theories around that as well. But moving on to other great news, we'll cover the SEC one in a second here. Now, there's this tweet which is Kraken, and then one of the amazing, we're in the best community ever, by the way. One of our community members here says, "Hey team, what is the progress with PulseChain launch on Kraken? Thank you." And then get a reply, and they say, "Hey Eva, no update we can share just yet, but keep an eye on our listings roadmap. You never know what might pop up next." So giving us kind of a tease. Now, a lot of people started replying after this, and Crypto Coffee, big shout out to him, goes, "Do it, PulseChain for the win." And then they replied back to him and saying, "Stay tuned." Link in their blog, and a lot of people are saying, "Dude, this would be badass. I'll get a Kraken account immediately." And they're still replying and all of that. Now, this is all very good news, because actually, Kraken, guys, from what I've heard, because I don't really use as much centralized exchanges, what I've heard is Kraken is one of the best centralized exchanges out there. Coinbase is probably one of the worst ones in terms of freezing your account indefinitely, asking you, to provide more information. Binance is, I would say, is top, close, top one, or even top two, neck to neck with Kraken. I'd say those two. I've used Crypto.com before, but Binance and Kraken, I'd say, is where it's at right now. So this would be very, very huge. And I think even Richard Hart, he did say of the centralized exchanges, Kraken would be his favorite. So I really hope this is not just an intern, replying with some copy paste templates, but this just shows how small of a community we are, guys. We actually generate a lot of noise in terms of support. We follow people, we show people love. We are actually such a great community. And also, on top of that, I just want to show people that on Deck Screener, we've been consistently the top 5 chain on Deck Screener, guys. PulseChain, the gate kept, no centralized exchanges. Our founder is literally still wanted by the Interpol, Europol, crap police, guys. Yeah, we're number 5, guys. I'm very, very excited for the future. 2024 has been a year full of gains with too many altcoin seasons we've seen. Okay, it doesn't count as the it doesn't count as the first official prime altcoin wave 1 that I've been talking about, and wave 2, which I do believe is going to be the higher wave that possibly right now it actually could be by 2026. We're going to see that in Q1 of 2026 to see wave 2 coming in. So again, if you're long term, you're in it for a good time, guys. Okay, PulseChain giving us opportunities because it's cycle 1. This is its first bull run. That means we have the highest growth potential. Simple. This is part of the laws of crypto, guys. Okay, it's kind of laws of physics, but laws of crypto. So, I'm going to start off by talking about the Pulse. This is the native coin of the chain. Right now is at 261. Is that correct? No way. Our chain is 261. Yeah, it's at 568 million market cap. Half a billion, guys. Half a billion market cap, but we still have, what's our, let's see real quick. What's our daily volume looking like? 21 million daily volume. That's not bad at all. Because when you compare it to things like, XRPL, 7.5 million, and they're like, what, top 5 on market cap? Look at that. Top 4, guys. 128 billion of market cap. They have 7.5 million daily 24-hour volume. Now look at us, who's 500 million guys. That's literally a 200x plus difference in size, and we're doing over almost 3 times their daily volume. So I'm telling you, it just shows, guys, with Metcalfe's law, once that starts kicking in, more as more and more people go, we're gonna exponentially start increasing in value. Look up Metcalfe's law. This is huge. Richard Hart used to talk about this a lot. So it's all about users. So if you want to think about, okay, what's the precursor of our value going up? It goes back to users, the network effects. It's quite simple as that, really. So again, so you guys liking this video, commenting down below, it literally pushes my video in the YouTube algorithms to other crypto viewers who possibly don't even know about PulseChain. I'm gonna make this video title where it won't have PulseChain in the title, but it will try to grab other people's attention into PulseChain. I'm gonna do that by referring to PulseChain as the Ethereum fork that everyone should look out for. The Ethereum fork that will flip Solana. You see what I did there? Like, it's gonna now attract people from Solana. It's gonna attract people from Ethereum. Be like, hold on, they mentioned our name. Let's see. Ethereum's the land of whales. Solana is the current unicorn of this bull run. Do you know what I mean? So it's really great. We will see. We shall see. But yeah, this is the chart right now. It's looking pretty good in my opinion. Thankfully, bouncing up from the new all-time low, and hopefully right now we're either gonna turn that resistance level to a support level again, and hopefully back to the sacrifice price. Now, in terms of my price prediction, you guys already know, like, my good case scenario would be a half a cent. We shall see. A 10x from a sacrifice rate will bring us to 1/10 of a cent. I think that's also my first milestone, so I'll keep it very real with you guys. 10 cents, 1/10 of a cent, and half a cent would be very, very good. That would actually already be a win for us, for sure. And now also, just looking at MACD, we're starting to get that cross. You can see that the blue line is starting to go over the red line, which is really good. And I believe that's the short line starting to go over the long line. And then, yeah, that's usually a great sign. You can see when we had that all the way back here, this was also a very good sign when Pulse did really well in terms of a rally that ended, I don't know, 100 plus days. So it's really good. Hopefully we do go towards the sacrifice price, where technically now we've been cut even, and I do think that will probably be a price discovery. Now moving on to the PulseX. Now this is one of my favorites because I do believe it's a 2x leverage on on the Pulse coin, Pulse, wrapped Pulse, just purely because of the deflationary tokenomics that it has. So I actually don't even hold that much Pulse, guys. I just instead choose to double down on PulseX. You guys already know PulseX is one of those tokens that I tell people I'm going to hold this for literally bull runs to come. Bull runs to come. This could repeat a Bitcoin type movement, guys. Like, I'm very long term on this because of the deflationation, because of the fact that 90% of the liquidity in PulseChain is under PulseX. We have a native DEX. That's what Ethereum doesn't have. Okay, Ethereum has Uniswap. Great. Of course, that's first mover's advantage. But look at the difference in the market cap. Look at Uniswap. Uniswap is not deflationary. Even though they had the functionality in their smart contracts, they just didn't enable it. But we did. We're also native to PulseChain. We're also the newer chain in the block, around the block. Literally block. Okay, growth potential is there. PulseChain represents freedom of speech. I, myself personally, sacrificed in PulseX. Freedom of movement, freedom of assembly. This is what we represent. From our validators, majority of them are in the USA. So technically, PulseChain can be labeled as a made in USA. Donald Trump Jr. follows Richard Harts. Guys, I'm telling you, big things will come. The same lawyers that Richard Hart used to beat the SEC, not get dropped by, beat the SEC, were the same firm that Elon and I believe even Donald Trump uses. Quinn Emanuel, go look it up. I'm telling you, there's connections. Richard Hart is really taking a step back from this, live streaming and stuff, which I love. I watched most of his live streams, guys, most of his debates, and I love Richard Hart's message, about the counterparty, eliminating the counterparty risk, about obviously decentralization, and about how Bitcoin had two inflation bugs, and he was one of the people who warned when the website got hacked. Do you know what I mean, guys? And he was talking about how he wants to make a world a better place. He wrote 2 free self-help books, which I'm gonna make a review on them very, very soon. Big shout out to Richard Hart, man. Honestly, big shout out to Richard Hart. What a great person. Moving on to incentive INC token, guys. This is a beautiful token because I usually call it the liquid gold as opposed to normal gold or digital gold like Bitcoin. I call this the liquid gold because, and it's already been evident, and I've been talking about this way before he did this, where Richard Hart can give it Bitcoin halving in terms of the inflation rate, which is exactly what he did. Exactly. He basically gave it equivalent to 4 Bitcoin halvings, bringing down the inflation rate for RNC from 1 to 0.035, 0.03 per second, effectively, cutting down the APRs on the farms, disincentivizing people to pull out their liquidity, which is a sign, because Richard talked about this. He said, low liquidity is great. That means pump time. And then, of course, once we reach to those high levels, let's say, for example, again, this is not financial advice. I'm not guaranteeing any profits here. You have to make your own decision. Only invest in risk capital. Remember that. Do remember that. Let's say we are at $100 INC, which it goes, okay, no. Now it's time to secure or stabilize at these prices. He's going to start doing what? It's the next phase, which we're obviously not there yet, which is start incentivizing people to provide liquidity. That could be where he reinstantiates the farms or adds new farms to the PulseX. So, keep that in mind. Think like Richard Hart. What would he do? Think about the sacrifice funds. When is he going to use it? When we're going to least expect it? When is he going to use it? Same thing looking at the previous bull one, when he thought the ETH top is in. He's very close to predicting it. He's a very smart man. So keep that in mind. Put your mind in Richard Hart and ask yourself, when would he think the Ethereum top will be in? That's most likely where he's going to use the sacrifice funds, so you can front run it by just believing in the blue chips of PulseChain. Simple. PulseX, Hex, INC, EHEX, guys. Look at this. With PX right now, we're at almost a cent. Looking at the volume profile here, the point of control, it does seem to be around 1.3 cents, and hopefully if we reach that, and if we break out, right, that would be a confirmation that we are trending upwards, and hopefully we reach back to all-time high at 3 cents, which gives us a price discovery, and I'm so excited, to see what history has, which right now it is on number 3 trending on PulseChain, which is really great. Now moving on to the second one here, EHEX, which is great because this is our foot in the door on Ethereum. This is our link from Ethereum to PulseChain, because now people will be like, okay, let me see Hex. They're going to see this and be like, okay, what is Hex? Let me learn more. Richard Hart. Oh, let me learn more. PulseChain. Oh, it's a whole new chain. Let me learn more. Let me bridge my EHEX to PulseChain. You can buy EHEX on PulseChain as well, by the way. You don't need to have it on Ethereum. But yeah, looking at this, it has actually pumped really well in the past month. You can see that we were almost at all-time high, and now we've pumped a 1.3x. Effectively, we are a 200x away from back to all-time high. Very possible due to the fact that we are extremely low liquidity as well. And by the way, a lot of people said EHEX is dead, yada yada yada, because of course, Richard did tweet many times, basically killing EHEX. But guess what? Seen the OA movements, and look at this. The OA movements, and 93% of the hex supply, because of course majority is OA holders, staked for 55555. Guys, 15 years. 15 years. 93%, 93%, and then in PX the same thing, 94%. It was done around the same time. So let me tell you, PX is far from being dead. Matter of fact, we're just getting started. History will repeat itself, and I believe, guys, this is the bear market. It happens. Stuff like this happens. Volatile, very volatile. And a few unfortunate events, of course. Yeah, let me tell you, history repeats itself. We're only 200x, and guess what? We were as close, guys, as a 75x away from that all-time high in the previous in December of 2024. 75x away, and in the all-time low, look at this, we were at 654x. Yeah. So yeah, you tell me now, if I told you, oh, I have a 670x opportunity, would you trust me? Would you say, oh, that's very unrealistic? But when I come to you now and say, oh, I have a 75x opportunity, you can be like, okay, it's doable. But which one would have given you more gains? Which time? That's why it depends on people's risk tolerances, which of course I completely understand. People have different risk tolerances. So you cannot just copy what I'm doing, right? But in terms of news, listen, I'm gonna basically just cover this one. I'm gonna cover more about PDAI and Atropa in another video. But in terms of huge news, guys, and a big shout out to us because we've been here since the start. And I just want to say a big shout out to uh, you know big the community leaders that we have, such as Nuclear Herbs, that has been giving us clarity because he's also a lawyer. And yeah, basically, Richard Hart, guys, they finally they reached the window where the SEC effectively notified that they're not going to appeal. That's it. They're accepting defeat. They sent that to the judge, Auntie Carol. And this is what Richard had to say. He says, I beat the SEC in court. The SEC did not drop its case against me. Big difference. The judge completely dismissed their case for both failure to state a claim and lack of jurisdiction. This is why PulseChain, PulseX, Hex gained legal certainty that almost no other chain, no other coin has, even Ethereum. The judge also the judge also rejected the SEC's abandoned alter ego theory, which is absolutely crazy, guys. It's so stupid. They even called PulseX, and Hex Richard Hart's alter egos. Like, what are you talking about? These are automated, permissionless smart contracts. They're compiled assembly code, bro. How are you gonna ask to sue it? Like, what? This is a victory for open source software, free speech, PulseX, Hex, and I. Big shout out to Richard Hart. This is a big win, and I even posted this in the comments. And I said PulseChain has beat the SEC. 95 of other cases were dropped by them. Big difference. We weren't dropped by the SEC. I said Richard Hart fought for everyone's freedom in crypto. We're all gonna make it onwards and upwards from here. Great timing too with the macro level, 100%. And yeah, I love it. Even people like Ansem are reacting to this again, grabbing a lot of people's attention. These are eyes, guys. Again, maybe won't realize immediate effects, as in, okay, 131k views. Why is the price not pumping? But it takes time. People are gonna learn slowly. But oh yeah, PulseChain, I remember about that. Let me learn more about it. Oh yeah, how can I use the bridge? Okay, how can I get a self-custodial wallet? I'm gonna make those tutorials as well. I will, so that people can send them out around. I'm gonna put them on a nice website so people can bookmark them there, and step by step, because people need to learn. I understand the barrier for entry is very high, but guess what? If you climb over that barrier for entry, you're gonna be rewarded. Because majority of people will wait until it's on a centralized exchange. Literally, I've heard people say, "Oh yeah, PulseChain must be a scam because it's not on a centralized exchange." That's literally how the retail investor thinks. And you can't really fault them because remember, we're going back to that risk tolerance thing where I told you guys they have a different risk tolerance. Okay, they're going to be happy with a 2x because when you think about a 2x in a stock market sense, you expect that over 10 years. You're like, oh, 2x, wow, oh, I made a 2x in 10 years. You know what I mean? And they're happy, like they get ecstatic, like, whoa, I just made 20% this year. I'm gonna go sleep. I'm gonna go hibernate till the next year. You know what I mean? Like that's how it is. But with crypto, we get the opportunity to buy things when they're very cheap. In the stock market, guys, it's opaque. With the order books, we don't know who's providing the liquidity. We don't know who's buying in the background. If it's real volume, you don't know who's manipulating the market. Disabling buys, enabling buys here. You guys seen it with Robinhood in the previous, with GameStop and stuff. Nah, man. Dislike that completely. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna basically end the video there. Okay, now I was going to talk more about PDAI, the price action right here. PWBTC, I love PWBTC and PDAI. You guys already know right now, one of the biggest winners today, up 20%. I was also going to talk about my favorite meme coins in general, but I think, you know what, I'm going to make those on a separate video so that you guys can have a chance to watch them all in your own time. But please, because you've reached the end of the video, I can tell you don't have no TikTok in your phone. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. Big shout out to all the YouTube members who are supporting my small channel. Remember, they get access to my part 5 to the series of the psychology of the market cycle, where I look a little bit deeper into things. Okay, this is not really for beginners, but if you've been in crypto for a while now and you understand things and you want to take it to the next level, this series will be great for you. And thank you very much for tuning in. Do remember, learn about crypto operation security, link in the description. Now, if you cannot afford this, and because I really do want every single one of you sincerely to learn this, I don't need you guys to pay me anything. I can make money with this in a few months later. Okay, I want you guys to just be safe, because I've had a lot of messages from people who have been scammed, who've been, hacked, their wallet got drained, and it literally boils my blood when I hear those stories. So please, cannot afford this, use code PDAI for 100% off. It is limited time. I think it's going to expire probably at the end of this month. So that is basically your final chance. You can learn about operation security, but probably after this, I'll probably make another 50% discount. But please learn this. And of course, what I would want back is just a nice little rating. Give us your thoughts, literally constructive feedback, what you liked, what you didn't like. If you learned something new, put it down there. It will help other people to hear from you guys instead of just from me, right? Because obviously I'm biased from my own course, but I put in tons of hours into this. This leverages thousands of hours that I've accumulated in the previous bull run and in the previous years, basically in this bear market, learning about crypto from expensive lessons as well. But guys, I'm going to end the video there. Make sure to join the Telegram link description. Say hi, hello, what do you think of the video? And I'll catch you later. Take care. Big shout out to the man above. And remember, trust in the process, and trust in God. Take care.